Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Wake up, it's Monday morning, and we have got a what's next in raid video. These are always the most exciting times because we get to see an official teaser of things that are coming in game. So I'm going to give you full context as to what is going on, and we're going to watch this for the first time together, or at least it's my first time. I've made sure I've been antsy wanting to watch this, but I waited until I was able to get to the PC and get a video recorded so I can watch this live with you, and we will talk about what is going on here, and then we'll catch you up in everything going on in game as well. So let's do this.
Everyone, welcome to our latest edition of What's Next in Raid, where we'll be talking all about what's coming next in Raid. We've got a whole lot to wriggle through today, so let's just slither right into it. First up, the Guardian Ring. Some of you may have already seen our other video dedicated entirely to the Guardian Ring, but if not, don't worry. We're going to coil our explanation up into a small ball of cold, hard facts. The Guardian Ring is primarily here to give everyone a way to use their duplicate champions. It'll be replacing the current sparring pit in your Bastion, but you won't be losing the sparring pit you know and love. It's just shedding its old skin and being upgraded with a bunch of new additions. The first new add-on is Faction Guardians, where you assign a special council of champions for each faction that gives champions of their respective rarity within that faction a global stats boost. You'll be able to assign Guardians for rare, epic, and legendary champions, and with this feature, you'll get to have your cake and eat it too, because you still get to keep your Faction Guardians and use them in battle. It's going to be a huge boost to early and mid-game players who probably won't have any duplicate legendaries in their collections, but will more than appreciate being able to strengthen their rares and epics to help them climb over some of those tougher raid hurdles. The stats boost itself is nothing to hiss at and will be approximately half as strong as the bonuses from a maxed out Great Hall. It'll give you a lot of freedom when it comes to tweaking and adjusting your champion builds and play styles, as well as your Great Hall upgrade strategy, now that you'll have an additional layer of boosts too on top. The other two additions are exclusively for duplicate legendary champions. First, you can empower champions using their own duplicates or some surrogates if you can't get more than one of that champion, like Lydia. Empowering will help you beef up your champions to make them extra tanky, extra killy, or extra whatever you've built them for. We don't want empowered legendaries to become unbeatable demigods, so we're capping empowerment. You'll only be able to empower a champion up to 4 times. We've built them for. We don't.
That's 40% of every single base stat. 15 speed and 55 of both accuracy and resistance while getting crit rate and crit damage. Yeah. Oof. That is pretty game. You're gonna start seeing some insane Ursagas and Sifis from these highest spenders that are lucky enough to get duplicates of the most desirable champions. Wow. Yeah, that's a massive boost. It is capped at 4, but that cap at 4 basically completely changes the champion. I mean, that's 120% adding all that up of base stat with the speed and 55. Yeah, sorry, I don't need to repeat everything, but wow, that is yeah, that is a big deal.
We don't want empowered legendaries to become unbeatable demigods, so we're capping empowerment. You'll only be able to empower a champion up to 4 times. Last on this list, but certainly not least, Champion Unbinding. If you're sure you have no use for a duplicate legendary champion, you'll be able to permanently release them from your service in exchange for a life token. You'll then be able to take those life tokens and trade them for a new legendary champion at the token trader. We'll be adding a bunch of special champions to the token trader over time, including some that were available via fusion events in the past. So expect to see Molly Tankard, Manaya, Fushan, and the new and improved Tomb Lord in the near future. In fact, community favorite Sir Nicholas will be coming to town very soon, so you'll be able to hand out some gifts of festive fury to some very unlucky boys and girls. Alright, that's the big update squirming its future. In fact, community favorite Sir Nicholas, bunch of special champions at the token trader. We'll be adding a bunch of special champions, be able to take those life tokens and trade them for a new legendary champion at the token trader.
Okay, so 500 life tokens, and you can only get that by like unbinding a duplicate legendary. What was Sir Nick? 4,000. So that's 8 duplicates. I remember talking with Ash, and he was asking me how much I thought it was gonna be for duplicates to get a legendary, and I said it was gonna be between 5 and 10, and Ash was like, "Oh, I really hope it's like 3," and I was like, "There's no way. It will be at least 5 minimum, but probably 10." So unfortunately, we're seeing that it is gonna be. I think they had different prices. So yeah, you've got Manaya is 5. But then Sir Nick is 8. So yep, there we go. It's 5 to 10 typically. I wonder if they're ever gonna put in like a Krisk and make it, 10,000 life tokens or something. All in all, I think it's a little bit high. I don't think the life token mechanic is being implemented properly. You shouldn't have to trade in 5 duplicates to get Manaya. That's it's a little bit expensive. And then for Sir Nick, 8 duplicates. Yeah, I think that's a little bit over. By the time you have 8 duplicates of legendaries, you're gonna like, you don't need Sir Nicholas as a progression champion, really. So yeah, I don't know. That's like a price I would have on there for somebody like Duchess or something. But anyway, I'm sure people aren't gonna like that system. It doesn't seem the numbers seem out of whack in terms of how they're implementing it.
In the past, so expect to see Molly Tankard, Manaya, Fushan, and the new and improved Tomb Lord in the near future. In fact, community favorite Sir Nicholas will be coming to town very soon, so you'll be able to hand out some calls. Alright, that's the big update squirming its way in-game very soon, but that's not all. Let's take a quick fire look at a bunch of other updates we're bringing to Raid soon. First, the Shadowkin are getting their own faction crypt. It means more milestone rewards, but you'll still have to finish every crypt if you want Lydia. So if you're close to finishing already, you might want to finish the job before you have another crypt to complete. Second, we're renovating the tavern. We're adding a filter that only
They didn't say when Shadowkin is going live, so if you're curious, the last we heard from them in terms of how many months it was going to be until Shadowkin Faction War actually launched and changed how many stars it takes to get Lydia, the last we heard, it was looking like it's going to be sometime in January, so probably around like January 20th, somewhere in there, like late January. That's kind of when we're thinking Shadowkin is going to be live, because they didn't say a date here, so I wanted to talk to you about that.
Shows champions that are eligible for each type of upgrade, as well as the ability to change the sorting orders from ascending to descending. XP brews will also be grouped together in a single slot to make things quicker and easier to manage, and we're also adding a slider to make it even easier to beef up your champions in one go. Third, we're adding rank and rarity filters to the artifact storage, as well as making it possible to select all the artifacts you've filtered for with one tap, so you can sell your gear in bulk. Fourth, and my personal favorite, changes to save teams and skill instructions. We're increasing the number of save teams to 15, and we'll be dividing them up by game mode so you have 15 for each mode. We're also making it possible to create farming setups that you can run in multi-battle mode, along with being able to set different skill instructions for each round of a battle separately. Alongside these changes, we're exploring some options for how to make it quicker and easier for everyone to speed things up throughout the game, starting with Faction Wars and the Doom Tower. We're going to be kicking things off by enabling super raids for Doom Tower boss fights. And to keep things fresh in battles, we're also adding a new buff and debuff pair that increases or decreases resistance in battle. Being able to have an enemy's resistance is no joke, and we think these effects will add a new layer of strategy to Raid's battles across the board, including introducing completely new team compositions and archetypes. And since we're on the subject of new team compositions, the best thing for that is new champions. A bit of a tradition here on our What's Next series. Joke.
I did not think that they would ever add a resistance debuff, because that's going to be a big game changer, especially for PvP. That's going to be crazy for those that are up in Platinum. That's obviously going to be extremely meta. So I am surprised that they are going to go that route. We see that they've always had decreased accuracy. Even legacy champions like Coldheart and Padma have got decreased accuracy in their kit. It was very rare, but it did exist. They've never had decreased resistance, but it looks like that's going to be coming. So yeah, that's really going to change how you build the compositions for sure, and it's going to really shake things up.
And we think these effects will... Since we're on the subject of new team compositions, the best thing for that is new champions. A bit of a tradition here on our What's Next series. What you're looking at now is a first sneak peek into the next line of dungeon delving. Boss-beating badasses coming to Teleria in the near future. Okay, that's all we've got for you. Oh, wait. one last thing. The Hydra. You might have already seen a few leaks from Raid's sleuth-like detective community about the Hydra already, but if you haven't, here's a full breakdown of what will be Raid's toughest, scariest, and...
I was smiling because Plarium does a test server that some of us get access to, and somebody who had that access ended up leaking things to a friend or a clanmate or something, and then things got made their way to Reddit, and then made their way all over the world, obviously, and then all of a sudden content creators are able to do videos because things are already out there anyway and things are leaked. So yeah, that was probably them talking about that, which means they actually recorded this pretty recently, because that was within like 2 days or so, which is surprising. I would have thought they would record this like a week ago, but based off of that sentence of his, it sounds like they recorded this knowing there was leaks, which is interesting.
Biggest boss fight. The Hydra is our second clan boss, in addition to the Demon Lord you're all well acquainted with. However, it's a bit different than just fighting one boss. You all know the old commonly used adages, 4 heads are better than 1, 4 snakes in the hand are worth 12 in the bush, the more serpents the better. Well, they're all true in Raid World too. This unkillable beast will be bringing 4 heads to every fight, each with totally unique skills and mechanics to deal with. Actually, it'll be bringing 6 heads, but you'll only have to deal with 4 at any one time. We'll get into that a bit later, but first, let's break down the basics. It's a big fight, and you'll need reinforcements, so you'll be taking 6 champions into each Hydra battle. And just like the other clan bosses, the Demon Lord, you'll be battling the Hydra to chase high scores and win huge rewards.
I mean, it looks super cool. That's incredible. Like the map itself. Let me don't get my timestamp here. We're at 5:43. But yeah, this map looks super cool, and it had like life to it. It had waving tentacles towards the right side and stuff. Super cool. And then the fight itself looks incredible as well. Look at that. Yeah. Okay, so this is gonna be pretty crazy.
The Hydra to chase high scores and win huge rewards. You'll be fighting to stay alive as long as possible and deal as much damage as you can along the way. However, unlike the Demon Lord, the Hydra will be running on a different cycle. While the Demon Lord resets every single day, the Hydra will reset once a week. On top of that, you'll only get 3 Hydra keys per week, so you and your clan will have more flexibility to figure out when you want to take the Hydra on. So, the Hydra will reset every week, and things will stay pretty much the same week to week. You'll fight the same Hydra with a mixture of those same heads. Each head will be tied to a certain affinity, so you'll be able to figure out a good strategy over time to deal with the current challenge. Predictable, easy, right? But here's the twist. Every 4 weeks, a new rotation will start. This means, just like the Doom Tower, shuffling the pack. Each head will be paired with a new affinity, and the 4 starting heads you have to deal with will change. And in the future, when we add more heads, it'll mean entirely new combinations of 6 heads and a whole new challenge. To make things even tougher, once you've used a champion in a Hydra battle, you won't be able to use them again until after the next weekly reset. So looking to lock in a single, gimmicky team is off the table here. You're going to need...
Deadwood crying in the corner. That's a shot at the unkillable teams, where people, they just put in one team versus the clan boss. It's unkillable. It lasts the max duration. It one keys the fight, and it is the same thing every single time, every single day. So what they're doing here, they're trying to come up with a mechanic where people can't cheese it. Obviously, the raid community has a ton of insanely smart people, so I'm sure we'll see some sort of compositions come out. I'm sure people will find a way to gimmick and cheese this, but Plarium is really trying to make that extremely difficult by rotating the affinities, rotating the abilities, and doing all sorts of things that can't be resisted, and really shuffling things up here every week when the boss changes, and then also shuffling once a month by giving you completely new mechanics. And they're locking champions out from being used and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be way different than the clan boss.
Need 3 unique teams that can stand up to the challenge to get the most out of the Hydra. Then, every month, re-examine your strategy again, because the script may very well have been flipped. Because each head is so unique, you won't be able to use the same tricks every time. We're not going to cover each head's skills right now, but here's a quick snapshot of the 6 heads you'll be fighting against in the first rotation of the Hydra. The head of Torment, the head of Decay, the head of Wrath, the head of Blight, the head of Suffering, and my personal favorite, the head of Mischief. If those names alone don't sound scary enough, wait until you see them in battle. Things get real crazy. You'll be fighting 4 of these heads at the same time, and you'll be fighting hard to stay alive and deal out as much pain as possible. You'll want to cut off the Hydra's heads to maximize your damage, but cutting off a head doesn't mean you only have to fight against 3 heads. Remember how we said the Hydra brings 6 heads? Well, if you do manage to decapitate a head, another will grow back. You cut off the head of Blight, and it might come back with a vengeance, or it might be replaced by the head of Decay or head of Torment, whichever the 5th and 6th heads are in the current rotation. So, endless pain for your team. But don't worry, you have 6 champions, and it only has 4 heads. You have the numbers advantage. It's going to be like shooting snakes in a barrel. Not exactly. This beast has another trick up its sleeve. It's also going to be trying to eat you. Every so often, one of your champions will get eaten by one of the heads. Now, just like in real life, these Hydras have long necks and stomachs in their necks. So you have a few turns to chop off that Hydra's head before it fully digests and consumes your champion. If you slice the head off, you free your champion and they're back in battle. If you don't, they're dead and gone. And we really mean gone. You won't be able to revive them, and you'll have 1 champion missing for the rest of the fight. Sounds like a tough battle, and it is, but the rewards are more than...
I've actually seen that mechanic in, you remember that game back in the day, a couple months ago, Magnum Quest, that I did a review on, and I played it for a while. There was a mechanic just like that, where there was a boss very similar to this, and it would eat one of your champions, and then you would have a certain amount of time to do a certain amount of damage, to get it to spit that champion out instead of actually consuming it. So yeah, I've seen that mechanic before, and they're going to be adding that to Raid as part of the Hydra. It kind of fits the theme of having a big chomping head.
Worth it. To recap, you fight the Hydra just like you fight the clan boss. Higher scores, better rewards. Rewards will be earned in the form of Hydra chests, given out at the weekly reset. And better yet, if your clan manages to fully deplete the Hydra's HP, you get double the rewards. Let's talk about what those rewards are. Aside from the obvious things like Clan Gold, Clan XP, there are some serious rewards on offer. First, you'll be able to win fragments for an exclusive champion, Mithrala Lifebane. We're already taking huge inspiration from Greek mythos here, and Mithrala fits into that perfectly. We'll be releasing a dedicated champion spotlight for Mithrala soon, but as you'd expect from someone that looks like Medusa's long-lost sister, she's going to be able to poison people. Oh, and turn people to stone. That's a thing now too. It's a really scary debuff that can take people out of the fight entirely, with a downside or two. We'll cover it in greater detail soon, but let's just say in the right hands, with the strategy, it's going to be a game changer. That reward's simple. New champions are never a bad thing, but what about you?
Like super cool looking champion, obviously, and it has wings like every new raid champion nowadays does. But I wish the hair would be moving. I wish the hair would have life to it. I understand that would be insanely difficult physics-wise to understand, or I mean not to understand, but to design and get into the game to have all those moving parts. But it would look super cool if the hair was actually animated and moving around with all those heads.
Unique rewards or new mechanics? Oh, I'm glad you asked. You'll also be able to win a whole new type of artifact from Hydra chests. We're not talking just a new buff or boosted stats, but an entirely new breed of artifacts that give you set bonuses depending on how many you have equipped. These special variable artifacts will give you an extra bonus with only one of their kind equipped, then another bonus if you equip 2, 3, 4, or even a full 6 of them. These are unlike any other artifact sets in Raid and will open up huge possibilities.
I was saying since the beginning that this is how sets should be. It should just be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it scales based on each piece. That like the lifesteal set with 1 piece, it could be 4%. 2 pieces, it could be 8. 3 pieces, it could be 12%. You get the drift. Like the more you wear, the more life you steal. I really like that design. It gives people a lot more. Sorry, I got cat hair all over the room here, but I really like that mechanic of letting people really customize their build and how they want these things to intertwine and interact with each other. Like how cool would it be if you have that much control over getting like 3 or 4 different set bonuses and having to kind of choose if you want to go a lot on this set, a little on this set, and stuff like that. So I really like that they're doing this. I think that's going to be a good addition to the game.
In terms of artifact combos and builds, right off the bat, we'll have 2 of these special variable artifact sets. Set 1, Stone Skin. Equipping a single artifact from this set will give your champion a modest but useful 8% HP boost. Equip 2, and you also get an extra 40 resistance on top. But equip 4, and you'll get access to an entirely new defensive buff called Stone Skin, which you'll get for 1 turn at the start of the round. Stone Skin will mean your champion takes almost no damage from enemy attacks, and makes your champion immune to all debuffs except for bombs. In fact, bombs will actually do more damage as they can shatter your champion, but it's still a great trade-off for all the benefits of Stone Skin. That's if you equip 4, but equip 6 and you get 2 turns of Stone Skin, plus a boatload more stat boosts. The next set's called a protection set, and it works the same way. Equip 1, 2, or 3 artifacts and get extra stats, but at 4, the set has a chance to protect any buff the wearer casts or receives. Protected buffs can't be removed or stolen, so this set is sure to be invaluable to any champion whose buffs are the bedrock of your team. Just like the Stone Skin set, this becomes even more powerful at 6 pieces. The protection chance increases, plus you have the benefits of all the other stat boosts along the way. If the special mechanics alone weren't enough for you to want those sets, how about raw power and strength alone? Stone Skin and protection artifacts will be available in an entirely new rarity, Mythical. Mythical artifacts are a step up from legendary artifacts in strength, and you won't be able to find these.
Yep, and Mythical was the last piece. There was like Mythical and New Clan Boss was the last things on that Plarium roadmap where they showed everything. So I knew Mythical Artifacts and Hydra Boss were going to be coming soon. So we have basically completed the original roadmap that Plarium sent out in terms of planning things like 2 years ago.
Anywhere else. Mythical artifacts start with all 4 substats unlocked, but one of the substats will be increased to the equivalent of a level 4 legendary artifact, meaning you'll be able to eke out a little bit more power from mythical artifacts than legendary ones. It's a small edge, but at the highest level, those small margins make a big difference. As you can probably tell, these artifacts will be incredibly versatile and useful pretty much anywhere, no matter whether you're focusing on PvP or PvE. The Hydra is a huge update, and we'll be gradually adding more content to it over time, with awesome new rewards and terrifying new heads. And we're super excited to see what you guys think of it. And that's it. Whew, that's a lot. We hope you enjoyed our latest preview video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, yeah, okay, so obviously, this, obviously amazing aesthetics, like, everything looks super incredible. I think all in all, the Hydra part of it is done pretty well from what I see so far. There's going to be a lot of new theory crafting taking place. The community is going to have a lot to dive into. So I think the Hydra and this new champion, everything looks super cool. I think most of that stuff should be good. The dupe system is a tough one. Like some of these. So what's gonna happen is the difference between the super high spenders and the other players, that gap is going to increase. But I know like if most, like 90-something% of the people that play this game, it's a PvE community-based experience, and they're not trying to finish in Platinum Arena. So like I don't think this will affect people as much as your first reaction thinks it will. But for those that are competitive and like to try and go for Platinum Arena, even though they don't spend thousands and thousands of dollars, those days are probably over. To get in the top 300 in the world, like you can't really outskill someone who's got 120% of these bonus stats against your champions, like, and all that speed and accuracy and resistance. You're not gonna outskill that. You're not gonna outthink them really. So like that gap is gonna get bigger. But for 90-something% of you, I don't think that's really gonna affect things. It's just gonna be for those that are really pushing to be competitive in the arena and finish in platinum. But I would really enjoy to hear their perspectives on how they feel about this, because that definitely shakes things up. They're also adding the decreased accuracy, or I mean the decreased resistance. I'm actually surprised that they're going to be doing that. If I could find it, I don't know if I can, but they're going to be adding decreased resistance, which I'm super surprised. I didn't think they ever would. Yeah, it was right here. Okay, so having somebody's resistance. So it's going to be a 50% reduction to resistance. So if you get a Duchess that has 600 resistance, and you pop the decreased resistance debuff, then you're going to lower it to 300. So now you do have to land it. You'd have to have enough accuracy on at least one champion to land that. So the champions that have the lower resistance debuff are going to need insane accuracy. And then once you could set up a team with a rotation where they go after that champion, and then you could build them with better stats because they won't need as much accuracy because you had a champion go before them that does this debuff to the whole team to lower their resistance. So you can get champions down around 200, 300, 350 resistance and make it a lot easier for other champions to land things. I'm surprised they went that route because they've held off this long, but yeah, that's kind of the first impressions that stick out to me. I love the aesthetics of the new sets. They look super cool. I love the design of being able to wear like 1, 2, 3, 4 and get different bonuses. It's very Diablo-esque, where the set gets stronger and stronger the more pieces you put on, in terms of more iterations of it instead of just a 4-piece set being a 4-piece set. So I really love that. I think all in all, this is mostly positive in terms of what we're seeing in this video. At the very least, there's going to be a lot of new things. The dupe system stuff, I'm a little hesitant to be positive on because I think the life tokens part of it, and I think the stats might be a little too crazy. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be. I think most people are gonna dislike some of the dupe system stuff in terms of the prices and the stat bonuses and that type of stuff. But I think people will generally receive the Hydra and the new sets and some of that stuff a little bit more positively. But would love to know what you think down below. And now we're gonna go over everything going on in game really quickly, just to keep you in the loop of everything kind of going on in Raid as we get the week kicked off here. But actually, first, we've got some new champions to go over, which is always fun. I enjoy seeing new kits, especially when they tease them like this, and we can see the cooldowns. They're finally doing that. Give us the base stats, too. Just, like, right up at the top there, next to affinity and type and all that. Give us the base stats. Just show, like, HP, speed, defense, boom, easy peasy. Add the base stats up there to the top. But anyway, we've got attacks one enemy. Well, first of all, this is going to be a legendary for the Shadowkin. And it's going to be Spirit Affinity, not like a Void Champ. We'll place 3 hits if the target is under 3 or more debuffs. Each hit with a 40% chance of placing a weaken. Could be very good for the clan boss scenario there on the A1, because it's going to be under a lot of debuffs, and you'll have a permanent weaken. Okay, so we've got an AoE that we can book to a 4-turn cooldown. It actually doesn't book. Okay, with an 80% that you can book to 100. AoE decreased attack, and then after attacking has an 80% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns on all enemies. So we get decreased attack and HP burn. That would be very good for the spider, but one thing to keep in mind, it does stay at a 4-turn cooldown. Then we've got ally protection on all allies for 2 turns. Also place block damage on this champion for 3 turns. And grant an extra turn. Ally protection and then block damage for 3 turns and then get an extra turn on a 4-turn cooldown. That seems pretty crazy. And then every time this champion is hit with a critical hit, heals all allies by 15% of their max HP and place an increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now, it does have a cooldown of 4. Okay, so it's not every time. It's not every time this champion is hit. It's going to be on a cooldown. It should just say when this champion is hit with a critical hit, because it's not every time. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty good. So we're gonna, this is gonna make tanky teams really tanky with that ally protection, where the damage is basically just disappears, because it's not ally protection where the damage still gets done to that champion. It's just straight up blocked unless you remove that buff. And then you also get the increased defense when hit, which basically is going to be every time, because every damage dealer is built to hit with crit. So, wow. Yeah, that's going to be pretty darn good for tanky arena teams for sure. And also maybe some clan boss compositions, because you get decreased attack, HP burn, defense up, and weaken on the A1. So, yeah, Kyoku is definitely looking like a pretty solid champion. And then we've got Gamaran. Attack 1 enemy 2 times, each hit with a 30% that we can book up to 50 of blocking active skills for 1 turn. That's pretty solid on an A1. Then we get an AoE. This one can book to 3 turns, and a chance of stealing 1 random buff from each enemy. It's very similar to like Scartorsus's A1, but the difference is this is going to be booked up to 100% chance and a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty solid. AoE buff stealing, and then after stealing, he's gonna apply a buff spread effect, taking a random buff from the champion and placing it on all allies. Again, pretty cool. Can target dead or living enemies. That's a new mechanic. If the target is dead, place a block revive on them and then attack all enemies. Each enemy will receive damage equal to 20% of the target enemy's max HP. If the target is a boss minion, the damage equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. So that'd be like in the Ice Golem. And then this attack cannot be critical and will ignore shield buffs and 100% of the target's defense. If the target is alive, place a True Fear on them for 2 turns, and heal all allies by 20% of the target enemy's max HP. So you're going to want this guy hitting high HP champions. And then if the target is a boss or a minion, the healing is equal to 20% of this. Okay. And the True Fear cannot be resisted. So you would still need to build him for accuracy because of the A1, but that's a pretty crazy mechanic. Revive 1 random ally with 30% HP and 30% turn meter each time an enemy is killed. So okay, you're getting a free kind of snowball ability there. When you kill something, you're not only going to kill them, but you're going to revive something on your team. So yeah, so this guy's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of wonky to get consistent value. But wow, can this guy really snowball and get some insane value in the right circumstance. Next up is Urticata. Attack 1 enemy. Whoa, lots of books. 8 on the A1. We got a 2-hitter. Each hit with a, what is that? Books up to 50%. If it's a bunch of 5s. Of increasing the duration of 2 poison debuffs by 1 turn. Interesting. Then we've got a triple hitter. That's a 3-turn cooldown. Each hit with a 30% chance of placing a poison sensitivity. Okay, so it's going to be a poison champion, it looks like. Attack 4 times at random. Each hit a 50% chance of placing a hex. Okay, so going to be a poisoner that pairs with hex. And whenever this champion or an ally lands a critical hit on an enemy under hex, has a 10% chance. A 10% chance? I mean, it books up to 25 of placing a big poison. Ally speed in all battles by 50. So again, like, they're trying to make these hex champions added to the game and make them useful, but like, this is the one I'm least excited about, probably, of the ones I've seen so far. Kyoku, I think, is going to be crazy for tanky teams. I think Gamaran can really snowball and do some fun things. Again, this is just, it's kind of barely missing the mark here. We need a little bit more when it comes to a hex champion like this. But next up, we've got Vildrox. Attack 1 enemy 2 times. Again, so many books. These 8-book A1s, people are going to hate that. Each hit with a 30% that books up to 50 of placing a leech. Then we've got an AoE 3-turn cooldown. 70% of placing hex. Okay, so again, another one that's going to be doing hex. And then another AoE. This one's a 4-turn cooldown. We can book up to 100% chance of increasing the duration of all enemy debuffs by 1 turn when hitting enemies under hex. Also a 60% chance of placing one of their skills on cooldown. Okay, again, so this has a little bit more to offer than Urticata, in my opinion. I think Vildrox is going to be a little bit better in terms of a hex type champion. But we also get a passive 10% chance of stealing the heal each time an enemy under a hex debuff is about to be healed. It's only a 10% chance. Does not work against bosses, and the amount of heal will be the same it would been. Okay, so it gets a little bit convoluted, but basically stealing heals, and then accuracy in all battles by 40. So, yeah, I think this is more the route to go in designing hex champions. You've got buff manipulation and working with hex. Stealing heals. You get a little bit more out of the kit here. The other one, this is going to be more targeted towards poisons. And then the last one here is going to be Wither the Crowned. Okay, so we've got an AoE A1. We like that, with a 50% chance of placing a leech. They're adding a lot of leech to the game. Maybe that's going to be really good against the Hydra or something. Also place a continuous heal on a random ally for 2 turns. AoE, I mean, yeah, that's okay. A 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. Also increase the duration of all continuous heal buffs on all allies by 1 turn. This books to 3 turns. and then instantly activate all continuous heal buffs. Okay, so it could be a lot of heals if you pair with somebody like a Bad L there. Remove all debuffs. Okay, so we're getting a cleanse. Remove all debuffs from all allies and heal all allies by 30% of this champion's base HP, and that is a 3-turn cooldown when booked. AoE cleanse is always nice, and then you get the heals on top of that as well. Very similar to like Bad L, where he does the AoE cleanse with the continuous heals. Then 15% continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 1 turn at the start of every turn. That's nice. It's gonna help. That'll be a really good ability for dungeons, like account progression. Just constantly placing those heals on whoever needs it, and then also getting the cleanse and the AoE leech, and then ally resistance in all battles by 50. So okay, I don't think this will be one of the best champions in the game or anything, but I could see where this definitely has utility. So I guess personally, I'm probably least excited for Urticata here. I do think poisons are nice, but we already have so many poisoners that are just better than this. Like, okay, it's decent, but nothing that I'm super excited about. I think the best kit is probably Kyoku. I would say Kyoku is probably the craziest one out of these, and then Urticata is maybe the one I'm least excited about. So let me know what you think. I would love to hear if you agree with me and whatnot. It's always fun to kind of guess on new champions. Admittedly, we don't know their base stats yet. We can't grade them accurately by any means, but I'm just talking about like the one I'm the most and least excited by, judging by the kit. And I know there's a lot to get into in this video. I apologize for this video being long. I'm trying to get through all this for you guys. But they have also done this player's choice summon draft. So basically, they did a poll asking people what champion they would like to be in a 10x event. And it looks like the winner is going to be Duchess of the non-voids and Krisk of the voids. That's going to be what they're saying the survey resulted in. So they're going to be having a 10x coming up for Duchess and Krisk. That is going to be November 23rd and November 24th, respectively, for those 2 champions based on the shards you can get them from. So this is obviously going to be coinciding with CVC because we have got a new clan versus clan match coming. You can see the teaser up there on the top right in game showing CVC coming, so they're going to be incentivizing pulling shards during CVC for Duchess and Krisk. So if you're close to your mercy timer on any of the shards, Ancient, Sacred, Void, Duchess and Krisk are definitely game-changing champions. They're both probably top 10 champions in raid, so it definitely makes sense to pull if you're close to a mercy system to go ahead and YOLO for one of the champions. 10x is way more impactful on Void shards because there's way less Void legendaries. So the 10x, honestly, it needs to be like 25x for non-voids and 10x for voids, because we've got so many non-void legendaries now that 10x is not what it was 2 years ago. So I hope they kind of address that at some point, because like 10x is just getting lower and lower and lower in terms of actually having value as an event for non-voids and voids as well. I mean, they keep adding voids too. So anyway, the point is, if you're close to Mercy, I could understand pulling some shards during CVC to go for one of those champions respectively, because they're both amazing. Which now we can finally get to what's going on in game really quickly. I'm gonna try to get you guys out of here because I know this video is already super long. But we've got a nice golem tournament going on right now. It's normal, par for the course. You don't really need to worry a whole lot about that. Keep in mind that we do have a fusion starting this week as well for an epic champion, not a legendary. I think it's a fragment event actually, so it's not going to be as crazy as the legendary type stuff, hopefully. But you do want to kind of keep that in mind that this week we do have that coming. So you kind of weigh your options in terms of what events you want to go crazy on, and also with CVC starting tomorrow, you may want to kind of take it easy today. None of these are ending today, but you do have Artifact Enhancement and Dungeon Divers both live right now, but you might want to wait to spend a lot of your energy and a lot of resources until during CVC, because it starts tomorrow and it's within like 15 hours of me recording this video. As we go over the offers, I'm going to do the quick version because this video is already so long. And I'll let you know if what I think about these. I tweeted out the price of this Black Friday pack. It's not that great in my opinion in terms as an offer here. And then the special silver pack, this is not, yeah, it's a purchase limit of 5, so you already know it's bad value. Whenever things are insane value, they would never give it a purchase limit of 5. Monthly pack, you already know the drill. It's about a 2.5. $20 for 3 5-star accessories is not going to cut it. The pack string, this energy offer usually grades out as about a 1.8 when you buy the whole thing, if I remember correctly. So nothing super impressive in the shop, in my opinion, is the quick version of my grades here. And remember, with the Fusion this week, you're going to want to take it easy and wait to kind of assess the landscape. In terms of shard rotation coming to the game, we are probably going to be getting 2x Sacreds starting this weekend, because the rotation goes Ancient, Sacred, Void. Our last 2x was 2x Ancients. So we had the 10x last weekend. This weekend should be 2x Sacreds if they go according to plan. So wow, what a crazy week with all this new stuff being teased, and CVC, and then the Fusion starting this week. And then we're gonna, right after that, we're gonna move into the holiday season, where we're gonna have a holiday Fusion type champion event, I'm sure, and we'll have the Hydra to 3 craft. So yeah, with the dupe system, and not to mention everything else coming to the game, I would love to know your thoughts down below, because I really love hearing the community feedback, and I will talk about it in future videos in terms of how you guys feel about things as well. So if you're watching this right away, I'm going to head on over to stream, and I'm going to hang out with you guys and talk about some of the stuff. I'm going to stream on the test server, so you can really see this stuff in action, and really get a first look at what it's actually going to look like when it's implemented, the dupe system and stuff like that. So a link will be down below if you want to come say hi on stream and see what some of that stuff is going to look like as soon as possible. So that'll do it for me on this one. Remember to subscribe on your way out, because I'm going to have a lot more updates coming your way and keeping you in the loop every single day. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.